Okay, so good evening to everyone. As I can't believe every week goes by so quickly, and already we're here again for our final session with Miss Antoinette Bruce Alexander, in which each session really has been so interesting and devoted to different topic, and that is I learned a lot from it, and I'm sure the people who have watched it or have been with us has learned very much as well. And I wanted to thank you again. First of all, this is really a dream come true. I also wanted to share that specifically today, I felt that really eye to eye is really becoming something that I got feedback on our previous webinar with Miss Karen Taylor. She flew to Ethiopia a few weeks after her webinar, and she's giving trainings now throughout different schools and centers. And the feedback is amazing, and it's just amazing to see the connections that we're making here and how parents and professionals, teachers, psychologists, doctors really are learning more about autism and more about tools and ways to work with children with autism and with families. And that's a dream come true, and we're just gonna hope to keep doing more of the same and just grow. And everyone who's here is a part of it. So thank you very, very much to all of you. And if you know other people who want to become part of this community, please share and let them be part. So we are going to continue. Tonight, I am going to say that I have the questionnaire I made is going to be a link that you answer here on Zoom itself. It's really only like 3 or 4 questions that you answer here. So I'll send it out towards the end of the presentation. And when we finish, I'll also let you know what's going to be happening later on. But I'll give the floor to you, Antoinette, to tell us more about strategies. Thank you very, very much. And of course, I'm reminding whoever feels comfortable, you're always welcome to open your cameras. If you have any questions, you're welcome to write it in the chat box or open your cameras and ask. That's what we're here for.
Yeah. Hi, everyone, and thanks for joining again. Okay, we can see that.
Yes.
Okay. Nona, I just want to find out if there are people in the to be admitted. Are you doing
I'm on top of it, so you don't have to worry about
it. No problem at all. Hi, everyone, again. I'm very pleased to be here. It's my last session with you tonight, and it's been absolutely amazing. It's so wonderful that people can connect all over the world, and through something as simple as this tool, it's actually quite amazing. And I must say that I'm not a very technological person, but and although COVID was an absolutely dreadful thing, and we really don't want that back again, face-to-face trainings are still one of my preferred methods of training people and working. But this has opened up a complete different world. It's so interesting that we have this ability to connect. I mean, yeah, I'm sitting in East London, Eastern Cape Province in South Africa, and I can talk to you wherever you are, and it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. I can't believe it. Anyway, what we have decided about to do as a last session in this three-part series, is it a series? It's a series, I think. Yeah. Is to help parents, professionals, but parents, how to engage with their children. I know as a mom of an autistic child myself that it's possibly one of the most challenging things that I found myself was the number one loss of skills that I had with Daniel when he was 2, and how scared we were as a family, because we really didn't know what was going on with him at all until 2.5 years after that, when he was actually diagnosed. And the only thing I knew at that stage was that we had this hugely difficult, challenging child. You couldn't communicate with him. He had no speech. He was just such a challenge at that time. I've got a daughter, and for us with her, it was easy because I mean she could speak, and if you wanted to discuss something with her or give her an instruction to do, help her with homework, for instance, it was just so easy because Kaylee was completely different. So we, as Autism South Africa, have this amazing ability to, at a ground level, connect with parents, because that's one of the things that we do is we we engage with parents all the time. And part of that is either face-to-face counseling with parents straight after a child has been diagnosed, because I think that's one of the scariest things is the doctor give you a diagnosis, and many times all you hear is, Mom, Dad, your child has autism. Maybe if you're lucky, you get an information pamphlet about it, but really there's no counseling given to parents as to what the next step might be for you as a family, for you as a parent. Even under normal circumstances, a child doesn't come with a manual. You know, you would expect that being a parent of a child is an easy job, but even with neurotypical or normal children, it's really difficult. But now throw into the mix all of the things with a child with autism, and it really becomes challenging. And what you can do with a neurotypical child in the house is really, it's not that easy with a child with autism at all. So we were approached by the Cape Town, South Africa, Western Cape, Cape Town University. And in this university, they have a child psychiatry unit or child psychiatry department. Some of the people working, our professionals working at the Cape Town University, with Cape Town with University child psychiatry department, also is part of the I don't know if you know what CARA is. CARA is the Center for Autism Research in Africa. So it's not just South African, it's Africa, CARA, CARA. And we also partnered up with our our government, the section that works with people, social development. We partnered up with them, with CARA, with the University of Cape Town Psychiatry Department for Children, Autism South Africa, and there is still another another organization, World Health Organization, obviously. And we brought a product to South Africa that is called Caregivers Skills Training. And it is a product by World Health Organization. But when you, again, like a Hackathon would be, when you bring it into a country, you would give it that country's context and content. And that is what we were tasked as Autism South Africa. We were contacted by the university, by CARA, and then we were funded eventually by our Department of Social Development in our government to roll out this caregiver skills training throughout the whole of South Africa. And what I thought tonight was, it is really such an amazing thing, this caregiver skills training, that I'm calling it parent-child engagement tips. But it is just, in short, the tips and the hints and key areas that they have given us in this program that I'm going to bring to you in point form, so that you could potentially see if there is anything there that we can help you with. The question that Renana and I came up with is, parents in particular, is there anything that you would like us practically to give you some more help with, so that we can have more sessions like these, but helping you with specific things? So I think after we have finished tonight, that we could maybe potentially look at a few areas that they are, that you could identify, that we could then work further in the future. And Renana, you said maybe starting in November, am I correct?
Yes, so the thought was, again, it depends on your schedule, but to
Mm,
have really a more in-depth training.
mm,
So it really depends, really, if it's going to be for parents or for professionals or for both.
mm.
I know a lot of
Yeah.
people are both as well.
Yes.
And to see really what is needed, what you want to learn more about, what skills you want to get. So really the answers that you give us tonight or write to me later on as well in the next week or two are very, very important, and can influence what will happen next. So please share your thoughts. I also do want to add, Antoinette, that the care, I can't remember how you call it, skill training, caregiver
Yes.
skill training,
Yes.
is something that exists also in Ethiopia. And I know at least some of the people here have done it. I don't know if everyone or how many. So we would also like to hear how it what you say, and then how really it happens in Ethiopia, from people that already went through it and are using it, maybe some at some extension as well.
Okay. Excellent. So
Um,
let's jump in. Number
uh,
one tip I
Hi, Leah.
would like.
Hi,
Yes.
sorry. Good
Sorry, Leah.
evening, everyone. I wanted to comment about the CST,
Mm,
the Caregiver Skill Training. Yes,
yes.
Renena.
Yes.
Ethiopia has adapted the WHO Caregiver Skill Training into Amharic, and actually, I have taken it as a parent and as well as a trainer. So
Awesome.
I know, yes. So we are actually preparing for another round of training for professionals on the CST, so that each professional would be able to train at least 10 parents in one session. So
Okay,
we
that's
are,
brilliant.
yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yeah.
We run groups of 13 to 15 as a maximum 15, just because normally space and the equipment that you need, just to help parents understand better. We normally have a parent group, but maximum up to 15. So yeah, well done. I'm actually, and it's such a wonderful program. I really enjoy the program itself. I'm also a parent. I've gone through it, and I am now one of the trainers on the caregiver skills as well. I like it. Okay, so the first tip as a parent I can give you is to stay calm. Me- uh, You know, if you lose the plot completely, if you have a meltdown or a breakdown, then there is nothing worse, because you feel out of control. You cannot handle the situation or the child or the environment around you. So I would say try as much as you can to stay calm out. It's difficult. It's really difficult. As I said, I myself never had any counseling at all after my child was diagnosed. And the thing that I found challenging here was that as a parent, you are worried, you are worried, you are worried, you are worried. We go through an enormous amount of stress because we don't know what's going on. And then all of a sudden the child is diagnosed, and 100% of the focus go to the child now, but the parent is left behind. So the professionals take over, and there's speech therapy, and there's occupational therapy, and there's doctors, and there's medication for some. It's just a whole lot of going from one professional to another, and you feel eventually as if you are in a whirlwind, you know, and all the focus is on the child. But the parents go through a period of grief. Parents go through a period of denial. The parents go through a period of, I actually don't know what I'm doing now. And therefore, this caregiver skills training to me is such a valuable tool, because we now can help the parents with practical things in the house, how we're going to structure it, where we must be, all of that stuff. So I'm saying the more information we have, the better equipped we are, and the more we can stay calm. And then we can be prepared for anything that comes our way to a certain point, obviously, because yeah, even us, we get every now and again with stuff that happens around us. So the goals here is going to be to help your child. With that, you must also be able to yourself, and then extended family members and the community, because the information is lost if one person attends the training and you do not pass the information on to your husband, your mom-in-law, the mothers-in-law, the mothers, the aunties around you, all of those people. We also family. We're family. So we need to extend it into that hours. So where we need to start is we need to start at a place in your house or in where you live, that we can find a quiet space, that we can set up a little corner that we can with a child. And we must try as much as possible not to have any distractions there. We all have busy lives. We are cooking supper. There's a TV going in a room. There's siblings doing homework. There's squabbles and fights in the house. There's a lot of activity going on. The child themselves might be distracted because they were busy watching a TV program or playing a game, or they were busy with something else. But now you want to work with a child. So we need to find a place in the house where it is quiet and calm. We need to find a space in the house where it is away from the distractions. Now we say if there's a lounge and you have a long couch or a settee or something that you're going to sit on, why don't you just pull it away from the wall a little bit and create a little space behind there? If you have a dining room or a eating place and it's distraction free, then you set yourself up there. It can be in the child's bedroom, for instance, if they have a quiet corner in their room, or in your own room, wherever you find a space for the child. We have a magic blanket on the floor, and I like to call it a magic blanket. Yes, mine. A magic blanket. And this magic blanket goes on the floor in your quiet corner. And that is where you are going to try and get the child's attention, and you're going to start working with a child. It's difficult getting a child's attention when they are running around and roaming around and you're trying to work with a child. So don't be upset if it doesn't work the first time, because we just want to make them available, or the space available, and the child aware that that is where we're going to be working. The second thing that we're going to do is we're going to take 2 activities that we really like, that we know that the child likes to do. So in this case, it could be, do you want to draw? Oh, there goes my ball. Do you want to draw, or do you want to play with your bubbles? And we're going to give them a choice of 2 only. We are not extending it yet. We are giving them a choice. If you notice a choice, if you put a choice out in front of the child, either this one or that one, I never look at the choices, I look at the child's eyes. Because the moment you reach out with 2 choices, the child's eyes, even if they are non-speaking, the child's eyes make the choice before they can either indicate by reaching, pointing, or grabbing, or can speak the word out. So number 1 is present the choices and look at the child's eyes, and then follow the child's lead here. So you always follow the child's choice, and you're going to give them and put the other one away, the one that they have chosen. The third thing that we're going to do is we're going to sit facing the child. So the child is sitting in front of you, facing you, and you are sitting on the floor on your magic blanket so that you are eye level with the child, facing the child. So we have that direct face-to-face contact with the child on your magic blanket. And we're going to create this space, quiet. Put the TV sound down if you can't switch it off. Make sure that the older brothers are not having a fight close to, because that's going to take the child's focus away immediately. Make sure that the cooking happens quietly somewhere in a corner, but make sure that you have some space that you can work with a child quietly. Okay, so build play into absolutely everything that you do with a child. Play is the highest form of learning for a child. If we can't make an activity fun for them, then they're not going to learn from us. So make every single activity that you are going to do with that child, make it into a fun type of activity. The messages that we want to take away from this is all children can learn. Even if we play with bubbles. I mean, you can learn so much from bubbles. Bubbles can teach you hand-eye coordination, praxia problems with the mouth because you've got to blow. You've got to actually have ocular movement control to be able to watch where that stick with a little bubble is going. You can play with them. You can do pre-numeracy. How many bubbles are there? Are there some bigger? Are there some smaller? You can go with language development. Are they round? Are they square? Which ones are bigger, smaller? Jump higher. There you get your gross motor skills in. So there's so much that we can learn from bubbles, and children love bubbles. So it's part of the fun activities that we can develop for the children. Children learn best if they are cool and calm. You are never going to work with a child if the child is upset. So you're going to set out your nice area. You're going to have the choices available. You're going to corner that little child in your little corner. And now the child is upset, and you will not be able to work with him. So make sure that the child is calm and happy and quiet before you start engaging that child in the play activity so that you can teach them. You can help the child develop by engaging with him or her in everyday activities or games. There are so many things that we can do with children at home that is everyday home-based activities. If I'm standing in the kitchen cooking and I have square tiles on the floor in my kitchen, the fun activity that we can play is let us count to 10, jump from one block to another. It is engaging for the child. It's a fun activity. It's a kinetic type of activity so that they get movement in as well. But we are not going to just say to the child, come stand here with mommy and count to 10. We're actually going to make this activity into a fun activity for them. If we're going to do washing dishes, we're going to give the child their own little bucket with soapy water and put their plastic little dishes in there, and we're going to say, Mummy is washing a plate, your turn to wash a plate. And we're going to engage the children in everyday activities, but we're going to make it child orientated at their level of learning, and we're going to make it as fun as possible, and we're going to try and draw them in as much as possible to engage with us. The second thing we want to do with them is we want to keep them engaged. We've now started the process, but now we need to go over to keeping that attention and focus with us, keeping them engaged, keeping them going. So now as a parent or as a caregiver, we're going to look and listen. We're going to see what the child is looking at. We're going to listen to their babbling, listen to what they are interested in, and then we're going to take that and we're going to build on it. So look at what they are interested in and showing an interest for. If it is a child who shows interest in drawing, then we're going to have paper, a coloring in book, crayons, or whatever material that they are looking at to use. We're going to have that available for them all the time. We're going to have it in our quiet corner. We can have it at the kitchen table. We can be wherever we want to be, but have their special interest in place. If they gravitate towards cars or dinosaurs or a stick and a leaf from out of the garden, we're going to incorporate those interests into what we are doing with them as well. We can have plastic dinosaurs. And instead of washing the dishes, we're going to be washing the dinosaurs. And we're going to keep their interest going. We're going to look and listen. We're going to find out how your child likes to play as well. And show the child, maybe if they are able to at the beginning, new ways to play with it as well. So if they are interested in blocks, we're going to maybe build a tower with them. We're going to ask them to build a house with the blocks. We can even just throw the blocks into a box so that they are engaged. We're going to show them new things that they can do with it. If they are playing with dinosaurs, for instance, we can have paint, you know, the finger paint, the powder finger paint. Have a tray with finger paint. We put the dinosaur in the finger paint so that their four paw prints can be printed on a page, and we can say that dinosaurs are following each other and they can walk out. So you only watch the paw prints. It's incorporating their own interest, but in a new way. So we're going to help them understand that we don't have to just play with the toys and do your activity one way and one way only. And we know autistic kids like repetition and they like sameness. They don't want to change things. But if we can show them in play and in a fun way that we can actually change an activity, add something new in, then they might want to follow and do it with us as well. So we're going to look and listen and notice when your child is being good, and we're going to respond with praise. I'm not saying go overboard. Some children actually don't like praise at all. They don't like being made a fuss over. They don't like being pointed out. So we will, I have had to learn with my son as well. Being an artist, Daniel could bring art pieces home from art class. And when he brought them home and he had them here, and I went over the top with praise for him and his artwork, he ripped it up. He would take that thing and tear it. And it's just to show me, Mom, I don't like this attention that you are giving me at the moment. So at their level of responsiveness, praise them. We've come up with a system in our house of high five, or just, like the men do, and they give a hug, but they just do the shoulder, just put their shoulders together. We do a shoulder, or we do a high five, or I could just say to him, well done, Daniel. And he would understand that I am really a proud mom, and that is possibly the highest praise that he would accept from me. So at that level of your child's acceptance, praise him for good behavior and a job well done. If you had asked him to put 10 blocks in the box and he did it, we are going to say thank you. We're going to say well done. We're going to say I noted that you did very well today, because good thing to do, because the more we praise them and they understand that we are happy with them, the more they will want to do it for us as well. So if the child is or likes dinosaurs, then we go dinosaur theme. We're going to have coloring in books. We're going to have reading books. We're going to have stories about it. Have counting dinosaurs. We're going to have dinosaur shapes. We're going to have a lot of stuff around dinosaurs that we incorporate to keep them actively busy and engaged with you. The key messages that we want to take away from this is children have more opportunity to learn when they are sharing engagement with us. If I can show something done, the child can do it with me, and in that way they will learn how to do things independently. When I am not around, they can then do it by themselves. Children learn best during activities that are fun and positive and full of praise and happiness. Just make things fun for them. The more fun the activity is, the better they are going to learn. So we incorporate a lot of hyperactivity ourselves. We must become silly people. We really must. We must be childlike for a child to learn from us. We don't want to be a teacher in front of a classroom with a stick saying you have to do this. We want to be the fun parent here and make them want to do it with us. Children can learn communication skills and other skills by playing with you. So here we're going to do fun activities like a bubble. And you're going to say, show me which one is high. Show me which one is low. Show me which one is big. Show me which one is small, tiny, tiny. We're going to ask them, blow it. And then they're going to be playing with us. But our language never stops. So from the moment we wake up and the child is awake, your mouth is open and we are talking. We are naming things. We are chatting to them the whole day long. We are engaging with them. We are, as I say, we name things all the time. If the child is pointing at something, we're going to name it. If the child is saying, yeah, give me, we're going to name it. We're going to make things fun, but we're going to engage ourselves in their daily life to teach them communication skills throughout the whole day long. So we want to help them share the engagement at home. Sorry, it's sitting right. Yeah, no, I'm going back. So helping children to share engagement in play and home routines, we're going to join in their routine. If a child plays with 6 bricks of Lego, hold that thought. If this is the child's favorite thing, Lego, we call it 6 bricks. And the child is very happily engaged in 6 bricks. And they're going to be playing very nicely by themselves. We go and join in. And we bring our own 6 bricks. So they've got theirs and I've got mine. And we're going to be playing jointly together. The way a child develops play is they alone play first. And then they next to each other play, because now they are looking what the other child is doing, but they are not engaging. They are not asking questions, but they are watching. Then they will start engaging with the person next to them and ask questions. Why did you put the red block there? They're not going to do it themselves yet, but they're going to start asking the question, why? Then the next step after that is they're going to start copying you. So if you do something, first of all, you're going to copy them. So what they do, you do. Exactly. And then we're going to add in a next step. So if they play with their blocks in a specific way and you've copied them and you've copied them and copied them, then all of a sudden you put something in a different way. And then you see if the child is noticing what you did and if the child will be able to copy what you did. But we are going to imitate and play the same as what the child is doing at that time. So we alongside play with them. We're trying to join in. We're now going to give the child a next step. So if we say, put the blocks in this order, the next step would be, let's change the order. Let's put it in a different way. We're going to add a step in. For instance, if we're playing with blocks and we're adding all of them into the box, we're posting them in the box. The next step would be turn the whole box upside down so all the blocks fall out. It gives the child a chance to do that activity with you again. So we have a next step that we are adding in, and then also seeing if the child is going to join in and restart the whole activity by we post it, now we're tipping them all out, and then see if we can restart the game. Make it fun, make it happy, make it an upbeat experience for the child, but we're going to see if we can restart that whole game again. Because if you sit with a child with autism and they play, they can go through an activity that quickly. They are fast. They really are fast. But then they get bored quickly. So we want to see if we can have repetition happen with him again. So we'll try and restart this game. The games we can play with him, the everyday things we can engage with him is unpacking groceries. When we've come from the shop and you've got your bag or your box that came with all your groceries, ask the child to help you unpack the groceries, pack them into the cupboards. It's just a fun activity for them. It wasn't so much fun for Daniel because he refuses to touch any fruit or vegetables. So even if it's in a plastic packet, when you get it from the shop and it comes in a plastic bag, he wouldn't even touch the plastic bag. He's a bit better now because he'll pick up the plastic bag and hand it to you, but he actually won't touch the fruit or the vegetables. He doesn't eat fruit or veg. He doesn't like it. I don't know if you know about All Gold tomato sauce. Okay, so it's a South African brand called All Gold, and in there is the tomato sauce in a glass bottle, and that's the only tomato sauce that he will ever eat. He won't eat anything else because his sense of smell is so good that even if you put something else in that bottle, he's still going to smell it. So we have to buy the proper thing. We can't go and buy a cheaper make and then put it in the bottle. It doesn't work for him. It has to be the proper thing. So he unpacks groceries when we come home at night as well. It's just a fun thing for him to do. Let the children mess a little bit by washing their own plastic dishes. It's part of the game. It's just helping you because they're washing dishes, but they are learning. They're learning a new skill. The other thing is blocks. We don't have to beg a child to pick up blocks. We can make a fun game out of it. Tip all the blocks out on the floor, and then you stand a distance away from the toy box and you see who can throw it into the box. Make a game out of it. We don't have to be hard on the child and say, you have to now pick up all of your toys. You have to pick it up and put it in the box, because I can guarantee you 90% of the time the child will not do it. They're going to be running in the opposite direction. But if you engage with them and you join in the game, in the fun, and you make it a fun activity, in the end, you're going to have a competition with who can put the most blocks in the box. It's just a fun way of getting them to do an activity with you. Building play into home activities and play activities is the key to getting children engaged and staying engaged with us. And only through play are we going to teach the children new skills and to be engaged with you. I think people forget that it's difficult for us to engage with our own children sometimes. They think it's your own child, so you have to just engage. But for a child who won't make eye contact with you, that runs around the house screaming, naked most of the time, they don't like clothing on them, it's very difficult to get that child's attention. I don't know if you know sharks in the ocean. If there is a prey here, the shark doesn't come directly at the prey. They circle around it, and then they will go for the prey. So I'm always saying our children are a little bit like sharks. We might have an activity lined up here, and the child will circle like a shark around you. And every time they come into eye contact with you is the time that we can grab their attention. So make it as fun as possible for the child to want to come to you. How boring is it for some children to read books? And you want the child to sit quietly next to you and read a book with you. A child isn't interested in a book anymore. They want a cell phone. They want interactive games on a cell phone that they can play, or on a tablet or a laptop or wherever. But a book, it's very difficult to get children engaged in books these days, because it's not interactive enough for them. There isn't really buttons that can be pressed and something happens. So if you want to play with a child or get their attention and engage a child in reading a book, it has to be something that they are interested in. If it is puppies and kittens, or if it is dinosaurs or their favorite cars, you can have as many books around you as possible with the same theme. And then when the shark circles around you and comes into eye contact area, then you are going to point at the book and say, "Oh, look at the shark here. Look, it's all gray. It swims in the sea." And then you have the child going around you again. And the next time they come past, you say, "The shark is playing with the friend. The friend is the seal. Come and have a look." And then when the child moves around you, you point out something else in the book so that they get that moment of looking, and then they are gone again. But at least you are building some form of engagement into the activity that you are doing with your child. Communication skills with our children are really bad. Some of them are non-speaking completely. Some of them are pre-verbal. They only say either certain sounds or can make only a few words. Some of them are not even properly vocal. You can't hear the word properly, but they communicate. They do in their own way. So responding to words and gestures to all your child's communication, even when it is a little bit unclear. If a child is pointing at something using a gesture, follow that point, follow his prompt, and name the thing. Because that's how you're going to get language and communication started. If a child is pointing at something and he's pointing at a banana, you note it and you say, "Oh, I see, you want a banana. A banana is yellow. A banana is sweet. Would you like the banana? Must I open it for you?" And then you can motion opening a banana for them. So you're building in communication throughout the day with your child as well. You must use your own words and gestures matches the child's language capabilities at that time. We are not going to go into a 1,000-word sentence if the child is pointing to a banana. You're literally going to name that thing. So go to the child's level of language and communication, and we're always building on that again afterwards. Wait, give your child some room to communicate. What we were taught is this: if you're singing a song to a child and you say, "All know Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star." Some? Okay, so we sing "Twinkle, Twinkle, Little," and then you keep quiet. In your words, in your communication, in your songs, we build a pause in. So if you're going to start singing, you have to give the child an opportunity to fill one word in. So if you're going to sing them the song, you're going to hold a little to see if the child will automatically put in the word star. If they get a big fright because you kept quiet, they continued singing and they provided that word that was missing, then you can say to them, "Okay, let's carry on," or you start the song again. But wait, give them chance to communicate with you as well. So if a child is pointing or reaching for an object, you can maybe wait with your prompting as well. So if a child is pointing at something, you can wait and say, "What is it that you want?" and see if he would communicate something with you. If a child is reaching for something, you wait a second and see if the child wants to give you the word for the thing that is pointing or reaching towards. If they don't, you fill it in for them. But wait, build in that little pause. They sometimes use words to communicate with us, but not all the time. They sometimes use what we call non-verbal communication or actions without words. And then there is the most difficult one, is the behavior that challenges us. And I'm saying behavior that challenges us, because that behavior does not challenge your child. So we can't call it challenging behavior because they are not challenged by it. The challenging part is us. We are being challenged. So if they are having a tantrum about something, or if they are screaming about something, they are communicating to you something or other, but we find their actions and their behavior challenging. So they use different methods to communicate with us. It is our job to go and find out why they are doing it. There are ways that we can do this. So first we need to look and listen and notice what your child is trying to communicate to you. So look and listen and see if the child is pointing at something. He might have pointed at it before, but you have missed this prompt from the child or reached out to get something and you have missed that clue or cue. So start noticing your child's communication behaviors to you. Even if it is a half a word or a word, sometimes they use the wrong words. They would point to the bubbles and say, draw, but in actual fact, they want the bubbles. So the word that they use sometimes does not match the activity that they are requesting or what they are requesting. So we need to be very careful in our look and listen as well, so that we can figure out what the child is looking for or asking. Our communication goals would be to learn how the child communicates now and what they are using, what words are they using, which methods of communication they are using at this moment. And then we need to set a goal for ourselves to see what would be the next step. So if a child is reaching for something and say, give me, or with a flat hand asking for something, at this moment, that is the way that they communicate. A more refined way of communicating the same thing would be a single finger point. So maybe this is the way my child is communicating at the moment, is by requesting, but we would like a more refined way of communicating and we would like a point. So we could start maybe molding the hand and pointing to something. We can actually teach them how to point with a one finger. If they are using one word, the next step in the goal would be to use two words. So we would say banana, and then our next step would be banana, please. So we would build in a second word in that step of communication as well. If they are using behavior that challenges us, we could maybe try and give them a different form of communicating, that they are unhappy or that they are feeling not heard or that they are feeling left out of something. Maybe you are talking about them over them and they are feeling like I'm not even seen at this moment. So we need to figure out where the communication skills or communication level is and then step it up and see what we can do next for them. Promoting communication would be a show and say. So here we would say demonstrating words and gestures. So we would say, oh, I see you are looking at the banana. I see that you are noticing the red gogo in the garden. We would go with show and say. So we would say to them, oh, look, this is a red block. It's a show here and naming it. So we would go show and say, using words that the child might know now already. And we are not going to ask for something completely different that the child has never experienced before. We're looking at what they can do now, and we are going to show and say. We're going to point at things and we're going to name it for them. So we can say, do you want to change your nappy? I've just got it here because we did toilet training. Okay. Do you want a nappy? This is a nappy. Remember, South Africa, we say nappies, not diapers. Nappy. Okay. Or we can do it with food. We can do it with activities. We can show and say basically anything in their environment and what they are comfortable with at that moment. Okay, so repeat the words that your child has given you as well. If the child says bubble, then you repeat the word bubble. I see that you want bubble. I hear you. Bubbles. Okay, you repeat what the child has given you. You're just repeating their own words back to them. And then you're going to create opportunities for the child to also speak. Not just with the singing part, but in other activities. Okay, so I have a packet of crisps. This is quite a big packet, okay? It's not a small one. But even if you have a child-sized small packet of chips or crisps, then we're not going to give them the whole packet at all. We're going to give them in a little bowl, we're going to give them 2 chippies in the bowl. Because now it leaves the child with a choice. They can come back and ask for or request more. In Makaton, we say more. I want more chips, please. So then it gives the child an opportunity for requesting. You have basically opened a door for communication for the child. If you are making them food and you're giving them a sandwich, then we're going to say, why must you give the whole sandwich to the child now? Put one piece of the sandwich on their plate only, and then you wait until they finished eating it. But leave the rest of the sandwich on a plate where the child can see it. So if you're sitting at the table or at their child's table or on your magic blanket that we are working on the floor, you have the plate with the rest of the sandwich with you. The child can see it. You pick up one piece of the sandwich and put it on their plate. When they have finished that, you ask if they want more. And then the child will point or reach or ask for another piece. Then you only give them one more piece. In that way, we are building in opportunity for the child to request something from you. It works beautifully because they have to come back if they're hungry and they want something, they must ask for it as well. We can play I Spy.
I'm gonna stop you because on that note, there's a question here from George.
Okay.
He says it's a little long, but I'll do it quickly. Most parents try to engage with their autistic child and seek advice from so-called practitioners. We
Yes.
often tell them, do this, do that. However, when they try to practice simple strategies at home, there is usually no one to guide them on whether they are doing it correctly or if they are working on it. If what they are working on is actually a priority target. For example, some parents give reinforcement before the child accomplishes anything. So the reinforcement becomes just a regular meal or toy instead of a reward. At times, parents' knowledge and skills are limited compared to what their child truly needs. Even when parents know the differences between right and wrong strategies, they may act out of kindness and unintentionally make mistakes. This can create challenges for the child at school because the child becomes accustomed to receiving everything without any demand or effort. In addition, some parents are cold or introvert, never interact with their child. Can the therapist interfere in such cases? So can parents provide professional therapy for their child? What has been your experience with this? Thank you.
Okay, George, nee. The question came from George.
Yes, from George. Yes.
Okay. So George, again, I went through training with the same people who brought this product to South Africa, called Autism Navigator. I don't know if you've ever heard of Autism Navigator. Now, Autism Navigator is a similar structured product or help for parents. And I worked very extensively with quite a number of families where we had sessions on Zoom where I asked them to pre-record the challenges that they face at home as they happened. And then they would share the recordings with me in a video format, and I would then video call or Zoom link with them, and we would have an hour session where they then take me step by step through how they would do certain things at home. And then I would give advice. I would never tell a parent in their own home exactly what to do with their child. You would only try and guide. You know, there are some people standing on high mountain tops and then they shout, nee, you have to do what I tell you to do, because if you don't do this, you are a miserable failure as a parent. Then there are people down below in the valleys that say, "Oh, shame, man, your child is autistic. He's a child with a disability. Just leave him. Just leave him." And George, I'm saying to parents, I don't live in your house. I am not there 24/7 to tell you what you are doing wrong with your child. It's not my child, it's yours. What we can do is guide only. I can give you advice and I can guide you through certain things. It is then up to the parent to decide if they want to try it or not. Some parents, and you are quite right, some parents just take that low road where they say, I don't want to do anything with a child. I don't know how. If they come and they ask me for some assistance, I would give it to them, no problem. But I'm never going to go into a person's home and tell them, you cannot do that with your child. You have to do what I'm telling you to do with your child. So in that way, in personal experience, I would say that you can guide a parent as far as you can go, but I don't live in your house. So I can't come and tell you that if you have to give a reward, that you have to give the award or reward at a certain time, at a certain place. Some parents don't get the why you are rewarding a child. So we have to teach them and explain, maybe give them more information about why we are rewarding children. I don't like star charts anymore where you have to attain 5 stars before you get an award. We want to award children for something that they have done well or something that they have done good, But you can't pay someone as before they've worked for the month. Does that make sense? So I can't say I'm paying you 1st of October for the work in October, because you might abscond halfway through the month, or you might decide, I'm not doing it, but I've got my salary already. I've already been paid. So the reward system would work as an afterwards thing, that do what you have to do it well, and then I will give you a reward. Sometimes rewards don't work for our children either, because rewards are, sometimes they just think, oh, well, I don't need it. I don't want it anymore. You are making such a big fuss about this thing now, parent. I don't want this thing anymore. And then your chance of rewarding something good and something healthy has passed, because maybe your reward system is not working properly for that child at that moment. Yeah, I would love to chat with you some more. I would love to give guidance where guidance is necessary, and where parents would allow me to help them. It's a very sensitive and tricky situation, but it is based on specific challenges that parents face in their own homes. I hope that answered, George. Renana, was there a part of that question that I missed out?
No, I think you answered it. I don't know if
Okay.
you gave the answer he wanted, but you answered it.
Yeah. George, if there is any discussion, we could definitely chat, you and I, either Zoom meeting or on WhatsApp or something, if that is something you would like to do.
I'll give him your contact information.
Okay, great. So just the little pictures I've got here is the non-speaking communication of the child sitting with a spoon and next to her bowl. Maybe she's doing this with a spoon on the table requesting food. You could maybe name the food, or wait a minute, a second even. Ask her, do you want broccoli? Not that children want broccoli, but there would be some form of communication coming from the person. The grandmother giving the little girl a sweetie. You obviously won't give the child the whole packet of sweets in one go. You would give her one tiny sweetie and then wait until the child comes and asks for another one. The other way of engaging with language is playing the I Spy game. I spy with my little eye something that is the color red. And then the child would look around and maybe point or drag you there and point at it, but it's part of the language and communication development of the child, and something that can keep you and your child engaged and working together as well. That joint attention is a big thing. Paying attention to the same thing at the same time, and with communication and joining in with their play and getting them engaged, is this joint attention thing works very well with our children as well. Some of the key messages that we want to take away from this, again, look and listen and notice when your child is requesting something. Look for the points, look for the give me actions. Listen to their partial words. Listen out for the verbal communication, but also look at your child's behavior to see if they are requesting something. Okay, the next one is look and listen to see if the child wants to share something with you. Not all autistic children want to share or want to initiate that sharing with other people. So they don't often come running into the house and coming to mom and say, Mommy, did you see there is a red gogo in the garden? Come with me, come and have a look. Hardly any of our children do that. So we need to be very vigilant if they are looking. Sometimes they can do this. They can look at something and then look at you, and look at something and look at you again. That is communication for sharing as well. Mommy, look what I'm looking at. Can you see what I'm looking at? And then they will quickly refer away again. Try and notice when your child is communicating with you, sharing something with you. It is so powerful when that child realizes that in sharing information with you, that they have got that power of communication with you as well. Not just for requesting and wanting, but also sharing different things with you, interesting things that give them a lot of joy or pleasure. That is the type of requesting and sharing that we want to be engaged with the child in. Use everyday activities to create the opportunities for communication. Food is an excellent way of doing this creating of an opportunity for communication that they have to come back and ask for. Give me more, please. I want more. That is creating a brilliant strategy. When they make contact with you, when they look at you and look away again, brilliant opportunity, because now they are asking you to be engaged with them, to share something with them. So we need to look out for that. We can also teach things in very small steps to the child. Break a skill that they need to learn down in very tiny steps. If a child has to put a shirt on and it's a t-shirt, we all wear t-shirts these days, or shirts with a round neck, soft clothing. The first step that we can teach them is pull it over your head. And now, after that, we can teach them, put one arm in, put another arm in, and the next would be pull it down. This whole thing can be broken up into tiny little steps so that the child can learn it in very tiny little steps, bit by bit, until they have mastered that skill. You must also let your child learn. Don't do for your child with your two hands what the child's two hands can do for themselves. That's my motto. I run a school as well with little children. We never do for that child what they can do for themselves. Obviously, we have children with challenges. They can't feed themselves because they have not yet learned the action of putting a spoon in, twisting their wrist, and putting it in their own mouth. So that action takes quite a lot of skill to master as well. You have food everywhere. The child needs to learn that they have a plastic bottle or container, they have a cup or a glass, and they need to pour their juice into this cup. It's going to mess. It's going to spill. We are going to clean up. But if we don't let children work or do stuff for themselves, they are never going to learn how to do it. That child is going to grow into a man or a woman, and we are still going to be running after them, doing things for them. We're still going to say to them, come and sit down so I can put your socks and your shoes on. They can do it for themselves. We need to just give them simple step-by-step instructions on how to do it and break it down into smaller skills so that they can learn how to do it for themselves. Make the instructions very clear and consistent. If you give them a set of instructions, even if it is in picture form, keep it the same all the time. Daniel went to his first speech therapy lesson after he was diagnosed. He was 4.5 when he went to this. The most amazing woman ever that I've met, and she only worked with him for less than a year. She taught him skills that he had to do in small steps, and she gave him the pictures on how to do it. He was almost 5. He was still very little, but she taught him skills. He still does most of the stuff that she taught him when he was a little boy, and he's 26 now. You know, if he has to make a cup of tea or coffee, but he drinks coffee, he drinks a lot of coffee. He still puts everything out that he needs in the way that Angela told him to do it. So Angela said, get the sugar, get the coffee, get the milk, get your cup and spoon. You're going to put so many spoons of coffee in your cup. You're going to put so many spoons of sugar in your cup. And even to the amount of teaspoons of sugar and coffee was set out in pictures for him. You can fill the cup up to where the line is with hot water, and then you fill the rest with milk. So even all those little steps that Angela taught him, he's still using it today. So these skills that are taught in small little steps, it sticks with them. They learn so quickly how to do things and become more independent. Now ask yourself, after you have taught them a step, maybe it didn't work so well, can you teach that same step in a different way? Maybe it's difficult for the child to understand when they put their shirt over their head where the back and where the front of the t-shirt is. Most clothing come with labels. So if you have in the back of your clothing, there is a clothing. Where's mine? It's missing. I must be autistic. It's gone. But there is a label in the back of your clothing. You can mark it very clearly for them to say, when you put the t-shirt on this way, this label must be at the back of your head. It must go over that way. So teach the step maybe a little different than what you did in the beginning if you can see that the child is not understanding what you want them to do. But you know, we talk about reflective practices. Go back and check, does it work? Is it working for your child? Maybe you taught them in pictures and you were actually supposed to use objects, but we can still teach the same skill, just tweak it and teach it to them in a different style or way. Put pictures up there. How do we make a sandwich? You can pre-cut the cheese and tomato for them. If they eat tomato, you know, that's another thing. So you can teach them in pictures. You must have, you know, you can't make a sandwich unless you have 2 pieces of bread. You need 2 pieces. So put it there. You must spread your margarine or butter on there. You must put your sliced cheese on there. Put your sliced tomato on there. Fold the pieces together. And there you have a sandwich. And that picture scheduling will help them to do things. How do I wash my hands? You go to the bathroom, you turn on the tap, you put the soap in your hand, you then wet it, put the soap on, depending on how you do it, you can show. Then rinse it off under the water, close the tap and dry your hands with a towel. Put the sequence out there for them to follow, but break it down into smaller steps. You know, we counted doing toilet training up to 26 steps going to the toilet. Imagine how complicated it is for a child to follow a few steps. So you can put many more pictures up there if you want to. Making a sandwich, it's a much more involved than that. You can go to the packet or the loaf, cut the 2 slices, or open the packet and take your 2 slices out, depending on where your bread comes from. There's so many more steps involved in it that you can detail for them. So break it down into small little steps. The key message here would be your child will learn new skills for everyday life by practicing with your help. Do it with them. The first, second, third, first 50 times, you do it with them. And finally, they will start doing it by themselves. So do it, practice it with them, show and say all the time with them. While you're doing it, you're talking through the steps as well with them. So we don't call it behavior or challenging behavior. We call it dysregulated behavior because something has caused the regulation in the child to become upset or dysregulated. So the child was happy and calm, something is happening, and he is showing us dysregulated behavior. So preventing this, we must help the child to stay engaged, focused, calm, happy. We need to make sure that they are at that green level in the thermometer before they spike and get angry and upset. So we need to respond to skills and appropriate behavior with praise and encouragement. Tell them that you saw and you noticed that things were going right. You're doing a good job, child. Just show them that you are happy with them. As I say, some children don't like the over-the-top praise and happy singing and jumping up and down, as they just don't respond that well to over-the-top praise. But you can praise them. You can say, I, as your parent or caregiver, am proud of you, and I noticed that you are doing something very well. So then you praise them for that. Look and listen for signs and signals here before the dysregulated behavior starts. If you know that your child has a problem with sound and you are taking that child into a noisy environment, either get the child noise cancelling headphones or earphones or plugs that can go into the ear, or like I have to do with my Daniel as well, I will tell him, look at me. If he doesn't want to, it's fine. I will say, listen to me, and then I will explain to him. When we go into the shop, there is going to be a lot of people and there's going to be a lot of noise. You can hold my hand if you want to, or just stick close to me. So when we go shopping, my child is almost like Velcro attached to me all the time, because if it's a noisy environment and he gets overstimulated and dysregulated, at least I have it under control because I know where he is and what is upsetting him. So I always have to look out for things that might upset him. I know him really, really well. I know what his triggers are now. I know what would cause dysregulated behavior. So for him and myself, I now know how to handle the situation. But when it's a young child and you really have no idea what's upsetting this child, try and think ahead. Is this too noisy? Is it too bright? Are there too many people here? Am I placing demands on this child that is too much for him? You just have to start thinking a little bit about environment and situations around the child before he can even become dysregulated. Arrange your environment and give warnings before changing activities is another big thing in our world. And for that, we use our beautiful, and I have my chicken here tonight. I don't know if you can see my chicken. It's a sand timer or time timer. Okay, so this timer will help the child to understand that if the sand is finished, we're moving to a different activity. So we would give them an opportunity to process that there's a change coming. So give them warnings, help them with any type of dysregulation that might happen, any transition time that they might need as well. I know our children are really actively involved in television, TV programs. They have a lot of stuff that they watch on there. My least favorite of all of these things at the moment is Cocomelon. I don't know if you get Cocomelon as well. My soul. It's a baby program with songs and whatever, and they sing, and yeah, it's not engaging a child so much in language, but you can't take a child away from an activity that they are enjoying and that they are fully interested in and fully invested in, and they are 100% switched on with that thing that they are doing. Now, in the middle of this, you are just taking the child away, and of course, you're going to have dysregulated behavior from the child. So we need to give them time to process, time to transition, and maybe some way of doing it. We also have to record when the child has a meltdown or dysregulated behavior so that we can build up a plan from now on. So if the child has a meltdown or dysregulated behavior, please yourself stay calm. I know it is bitterly, bitterly upsetting when you have a child with a meltdown because you already are on high alert yourself with this child with a meltdown. You have to control his environment around him. You have to make sure that the child is safe. You have to make sure that they are not, however well-meaning the people around you are, people coming in your face telling you that you don't know how to control your child and discipline is an issue with you and your child. We don't need that. Okay, so we need a system where we can say, this is how we're going to handle the situation, but at least I myself, I'm going to try and stay calm at least throughout this. Then you must think about the reason for the behavior and try and pinpoint what could have been the before or the after. What could have happened? Why did the child have this meltdown? Or why did you see the dysregulated behavior? So here we could maybe ask, when you see the behavior escalating, we ask the child, please tell us on a feelings thermometer, what are your feelings at the moment? And every person and every parent and every therapist is going to have different words that they're going to fill in there for the child. So at the bottom where it is blue is going to be calm, content, happy. On the green side, I'm going to put in there unsure or nervous. On the yellow side, I'm going to put unhappy. So you can actually put your own interpretation to the feelings, as long as the child might have an input in there as well. Use the thermometer. Ask the child, where on this thermometer or on the scale are you today? What are you feeling at the moment? So you at least are also pre-warned if something is going to happen and the child is not feeling happy. The top pictures are there are the time timers, you know, my lovely time timers, or the time timing. Have you ever seen any of those time timers? The one that looks like a clock. Have you seen them before? Have you used them before? Okay, give me 1 second.
Yes.
You have them. Okay. So this is my time timer. It's a desk clock size time timer. So it'll sit on your desk. If you tell the child you've got 15 minutes to complete a task, there's a flag that you open that is opened and closed, and the flag is red. It is a battery operated device, and here it's got where is it now? This side. Yeah, there. It's got a tiny little beep beep alarm as well. So when this time is now finished, if this runs backwards and it finishes, then the alarm will go off. You can also switch that off. But this is a fantastic little tool for you to use at home, maybe for the child, or at school where the child goes to, just to tell them how long time period they've got to complete a task. And this thing counts the time backwards. So it's a time timer this thing. And it's a beautiful little device that can be used with any child. Okay. The last bit is
Antoinette, I'm just going to tell you that you have about 5 minutes left. And we still wanted to have some questions. So the question is
nearly done.
Okay.
I'm like so close.
Okay.
Okay. So the last one on here is the ABC chart that we can use as well. Just what happened before, what do you record as the behavior that you see, and then the consequence, or what did the child get out of it. If you track behavior in this way, you will find out why the child has dysregulated behavior as well. So we have tools that we can use. The key messages here are the feelings thermometer might help your child understand how they are feeling, and they can communicate their behavior challenges or challenging behavior to you, and you can get access to or avoid, or they use their behavior to get access to something, to avoid something, or to get either out of a certain sensation or get more of it. So the behavior is there to teach us and to communicate something to us, and the ABC charts there are really, really important. We can also teach different alternatives to the dysregulated behavior as well. I'm trying not to speed up. Okay. All right. Ignore the behavior that challenges you. I promise you, the more you ignore it, yes, it's going to escalate, but in the end, it's going to stop. So try and ignore the behavior as much as you can. Set clear boundaries. Stick to your boundaries, because those boundaries are there for a purpose. Your no is your no. Your yes is your yes, and you stick to that. Don't let mom say yes for something and dad say no for something, because we need to be consistent with a child, and with a child's behavior, it's very important that we keep that consistency going. Teach safe and appropriate behaviors to replace the sensation-seeking behavior that you find challenging with them as well. What we can do is teach them breathing exercises. Kiddies yoga is beautiful to use for our children as well. It just teaches them body and mind connection again. Taking a child for a long walk is actually a lovely thing to do as well. And the key messages there would be to use the feelings thermometer, and to find out the reason for your child's behavior that is challenging to you is really important, so you can eliminate that. Because the more you eliminate it, and I would say make a priority list of challenging behaviors, and then you start with the biggest one, but only one. And most often when you tackle the biggest problem, the rest of the behaviors fall away as well, because you've actually addressed the biggest problem here. So that is where we start, is we start with the priority. I would say the biggest problem with parents is we neglect ourselves, and we actually need to pay attention to ourselves as well. Find out what, as I said, all the focus is on the child, but we forget that we as parents also sometimes need help. Okay. We need to problem solve here. If you want to go to the shop and you can't take your child with you, ask someone, ask a mom, ask a friend, see if you can't maybe schedule it to go a different day. Maybe the child is at school and you can go. Problem solve a little bit and see if you can come up with a different way of doing things. Or do not be shy to ask for help. Please, we have to look after ourselves as well. And don't feel guilty if you go somewhere and you have to leave your child behind, because self-care is important. If you don't look after yourself, you cannot ever look after your family and that child that needs you so, so much. So ask for help and do stuff for yourself. That's it.
Wow. That was a lot of information. It was, yes. Especially towards the end. But we do have like about 2 or 3 minutes for questions. So please, if anyone here has a question that you want to ask here in this forum, or Whoever's interested, I could send Antoinette's email, and you could write her as well. Is anyone, and I'm reminding you, I posted the link to the questionnaire, so please answer it before you exit. Are there any questions?
Okay, I see George said that he would contact me. George, Renana has got my cell
Yes,
phone number
I
and my
sent it to
WhatsApp
him
number.
already.
Okay,
I
great stuff. Great stuff. Yeah, I welcome it. If I can help anybody, I would definitely do it.
There was a question here, if you can send the presentation to me again, like last week, in a PDF,
Yes.
and I will send it out. Great.
Yes. I'm sorry I was a little bit late and tardy last week with sending out the presentation, simply because my work was a bit of a priority. Last week I had to get the reports and stuff done. So yes, please excuse me, but this one will come through straight away.
Of course, we understand. I don't see anyone asking any questions here, so I think that will be it.
Leah, is Leah still with us?
I think she is. Leah, you here? Wait, I'm checking the contacts. I actually, no, I don't see her here.
Okay. If you could maybe just get hold of Leah for me and just check with her if what we did tonight is similar or the same to what she does with CST training as well. That would be very helpful.
So I know Dr. Marin is here, and I know you also did the training.
Okay.
If you want to answer that, how similar it is or different or.
Okay, thank you. Yes, it's very similar, but this is a very summarized and interesting format. I really found it very helpful.
Okay, great.
Otherwise, the
Thank you.
overall concept is the same.
Excellent. Thank you.
Great. And I'm reminding you, if anyone here has a idea or something that she would want to learn further in depth with Antoinette, something that has to do again with parents or it could be with Makaton, it could be with anything of that sort, you're welcome to write to me, and we'll think about it together. It will really help us understand better what your needs are. And hopefully in November, we'll have a further in-depth training for, again, yet undecided, if it's going to be parents or professionals or both. We'll have to see how it works, because the focus is a bit different. Yes. So, and I think that is it. Again, you're always welcome to contact me.
Can I express my absolute thanks to everyone? You have been very gracious inviting me in and sitting for 3 weeks and listening to me. And I have seen only kind comments on the chat group as well. So I would just like to say thank you so much. I really enjoyed being with you. And if you need me again, I'm here.
So I want to thank you again, really, for taking the time and the effort and the energy. I know you're very, very busy, and you're doing a lot, and it really was very, very meaningful. I know I learned a lot, and I know from people that I've spoken to in the past few weeks, that I think they like the practical of it, the practice, and not just like the general knowledge, but really giving practical tools that are very, very helpful. And as we know, there are gaps between South Africa and Ethiopia, so not everything fits perfectly. And that's a reminder again that that's what we're here for, to build knowledge and adapt it to Ethiopia and to Ethiopian needs, for the parents and the children. And that's what we're here. We talked about, I'll just say in summary, that the first session was about Makaton and how there really is wantingness or willingness to bring it to Ethiopia. So we're working on that as well. And last week we talked about toilet training, and this week about engagement between parents and children. So thank you very, very much for everything, and thank you everybody. And we hope to see you in our next webinars. As I said before, you're always welcome to contact us. And all of this session and all our previous sessions are uploaded to our YouTube channel. So you're welcome to like it and subscribe it. I feel like an ad. And follow us for further webinars and programs. Amasaganalo to everyone. Denadero. Thank you very much, Antoinette.
Thank you
Thank you very
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.